Hello and welcome to episode 6 of Dust War Journals. This is Johannes Haglund, also known as Frankie. And as with last episode, I have some guests with me here today. To my left here
is Ludwig or Ludda. Hi there.
And to his left,
this is Magnus, known as Magolf or Magwiz on the forums.
And welcome back, guys. Been quite a hit last episode.
Thank you.
So we thought we'd do this again, and we'll see. This might be the standard format going forward. We'll see. And I have to admit, about a week ago, when I was prepping for this episode, I was kind of thinking we wouldn't have a lot to talk about.
yeah. Right. It was a slow week then.
Yeah, it was. Not anymore. We had quite a busy weekend, and when I say we, I mean the Dust community as a whole. There were quite a lot of tournaments. There was a lot of people just playing. There was a lot of stuff going on. We had our tournament over here in Sweden. I know there was a tournament, at least one in Poland. There was tournaments all over the place. People playing Singapore. I saw a lot of course, the big Dust World Expo, which we're going to talk a lot about coming up. But it's a lot of activity, and it's wonderful to see.
Yeah, it's great.
But of course, also we have some new releases. So as usual, we start to talk about them. The new Raketentruppe, the anti-air squad, the flying anti-air squad, ironically enough.
Right.
I don't think we have that much to say about that. It's kind of what we expect by this point. It's the Axis Luftwaffe, the flying rocket pack guys, but this time with the Fliegerfaust.
Right.
Yeah.
But the other new release is much more interesting. The PT-47A, the SSU amphibious command vehicle.
Yes.
This thing is what I thought we're going to talk the most about, because that's kind of seemed to be the big thing. But it is really interesting, I think. The first kind of reaction that we've heard from our group was, this seems broken.
Yeah, a lot of German players were complaining. I was so surprised for some reason. But of course it's the old command wagon, and people were afraid that it was too cheap.
It basically is. The big thing is that it has 6 spots for passengers. I think that's the big contention, and it's still relatively inexpensive at 8 points. But I think the big problem with the old command wagon was that it was really cheap, and it had the 6-point passengers, the 6 spots for passengers.
Yeah, I think it's actually a big difference because of the cost. Because this new one is a lot more expensive than the old Commando wagon. So I don't know. I think it looks good, but not broken actually.
Yeah. And also the fact that the SSU doesn't really have like a specific hero that would work well as just an officer sitting barking orders.
Yeah,
you have what's the tank command? Nikolai.
Yeah.
You don't want him in a command
no.
You can, of course, he is an officer. You can put him in there, but I think he's going to probably do better doing something else.
Yeah, that would really seem like a waste of points if you put Nikolai in this tank. I mean, or this vehicle. You shouldn't call it a tank. No, it's another thing that balances out, I would say, as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe Iron Joe?
Yeah, Iron Joe would probably be the best, but he's also quite expensive, if I remember correctly.
11.
Yeah.
So, and then you got this HQ, and then, all of a sudden you're over 30 points here for one unit.
Yeah.
And when you're playing Iron Joe, you probably want a lot of Spetsnaz unit, and he rolls a lot of dice and succeeds on double symbols anyway, so you don't really need the command vehicle for that.
Yeah.
So,
but it is still a very, very good unit. The command vehicle skill is extremely sorely needed for the SSU. This is the first unit they have with the skill. So it's really good to finally see it.
But to me, knowing also that we have the upcoming SSU amphibious tank, I don't really care that much about nowadays that it's a command vehicle. I'm more interesting, what will this mean with the new scenarios? We will, of course, have to use water now. I mean, we have amphibious vehicles. Bring us the water rules, bring us the rivers or whatever, and then I will have 3 or 4 of those, and I'll have my army in it. We'll be coming up the delta here in somewhere in China.
We'll see
or in
if we get the kind of water-filled scenarios in Operation Condor, or because we have the SSU stuff coming with the amphibious, or if that's coming later with some later stuff that's also going to be amphibious, which we'll return to. We'll see.
Yeah, I can see myself going up in Florida with these. I mean, next year, of course.
Yeah.
I'm still on a sabbatical. Believe me, I'm just a little bit unfaithful here right now. So.
And also talking about the amphibious, that's also an interesting point, because the version of the card we've seen so far does not have the amphibious rule.
Yeah, I know.
But we have had confirmation that there's going to be 2 different cards in the pack. And there's going to be a version that has the amphibious rule, and that will cost 1 point more.
Ah, great.
So I'm guessing that's kind of the rule going forward for all these amphibious versions. You can get a non-amphibious for 1 point less if you don't need to use the amphibious rules. I guess.
Because we also had that beautiful picture. I always think it was, of course, the Facebook when I saw it, when this vehicle was coming in the...
the waterline. Yeah,
the waterline
basically just cut off the bottom. And
that's what I wanted to do with my Rattler, the amphibious one. I never just got the water high enough, so it was a failure on my modeling skill. But
yeah, and also from what we've seen, what we're going to expect for most of this year, I think this is kind of the typical month. We have 1 Luftwaffe unit and we have 1 something else. That's basically how the year is going to shake out, I guess.
Just one more thing about the PT-47 there. It has 6 spots for passengers, right? Yeah, so that means it's actually possible to put a Steel Guard command unit in it.
Yes!
You can put 2. No, you can't.
Okay, now you're going there.
No, you can.
I'm just thinking of that.
You definitely can. And it's an interesting kind of use for them, maybe.
Yeah.
No maximum tonnage there for that one, okay?
Yeah.
But if you do that, maybe you can't make it amphibious. It would just sink, I guess.
Yeah, that would be submarine. But they are enclosed. I mean, the steel guards, when you put down the hatch down there, I'm guessing they are sealed inside. Come on, open the hatches. They can shoot their weapons like torpedoes or something. I don't know. Works for me.
Right, so let's talk a little bit about the tournaments that's been going on. Like I said, we have our little tournament here, it was actually a player record for us this last weekend. We had 16 players, which we're very, very happy. We see the game grow quite a bit in just a few months, more or less. So that was really successful, I think. And also, if people were kind of... we talked about our previous tournament last episode and the kind of distribution of the blocks in that tournament. That seems to have been a one-off. Because now we're kind of back... Yeah, we're kind of back to everything just mixed up. We don't have a clear pattern this time, I don't think.
We didn't have too many allied players this time, actually.
That's true.
But still, we're kind of good mix between the placings.
Yeah.
No clear, like, this block is a lot better than the other.
Yeah, exactly.
And we didn't see too many aircraft
we didn't,
from
and
either block, actually.
Yeah, and I kind of expected we would, but that might have been kind of just counter-reaction to the last time. We're just talking so much about aircraft and no, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to go that cheesy.
I mean, I was really disappointed. I had a lot of anti-aircraft stuff.
Yeah, me too.
I didn't face a single aircraft this time, so...
No, I think
you never know what's going to happen.
A lot of people had a counter-reaction just to the arguments after the last tournament, I would say, because it was only one player who played SSU, who played with the same type of SSU list that he played last time, and that is, of course, because he, at the moment, only has one army on 99 points, so he had no choice. But, I mean, none of the other ones were, I mean, some were playing the SSU for the first time, and some had shaken up their SSU armies and stuff, and well, it was a lot of I think a lot of reaction there to just the discussions we had. So people made armies that were not supposed to get the criticism or not fall into that debate that we had. I mean, to break off from it.
That's really good. That's great.
We actually saw quite a lot of Soldier 2.
Yeah, that's also...
yeah, we did.
Everyone is so convinced that you can't play Soldier 2, so everyone is playing Soldier 2 just to prove. So now it's not just one-off in our community. Everyone wants to prove everyone. So, and everyone is trying to dumb down their armies, I think.
So maybe next time we won't see any Soldier 2.
No, exactly. What will they play? I mean, it's so interesting.
It's very interesting. It's just people playing all over the place and it's trying out different things. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's really, really fun. We also had the big Dust World Expo. Of course, we weren't there, unfortunately. A bit long for us to go. Sunday, maybe. And there were both tactics, or rather 1947 nowadays, tournament and a warfare tournament. And the 1947 tournament was won by TJ van der Werf, with kind of reservation for pronunciation there. And the warfare tournament was won by Isaiah Burgess. So big congratulations to you two guys.
Yeah, and no surprises there. I mean, I'm looking at the stats on those two players and how they played in all their tournaments. Oh, sorry, I'm just fucking with you. I don't know shit about them. So, but it's congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Yeah, but the big thing I think that's been, like, the Facebook page has been just ablaze after this event. And that's because of the previews that were presented at the Dust World Expo.
Tons of previews.
Yeah, it's just enormous. And it's stuff we knew were coming. It's stuff that's already been out for a little while. And there's just stuff that, at least for the majority of us, was just completely new. We had absolutely no idea this was coming. And if you haven't seen this, you're in for a ride.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because let's just start from the beginning and we'll see how far we get in here. Of course, first we know that 2017 is the year of the Luftwaffe for the Axis, so that's what we've seen. Quite a few of the units we've already seen previewed.
Yeah. When we were in Poland there, we got a big sneak peek and we saw a lot of stuff but then, of course, they had a multitude of aces up their sleeves as well.
Yeah, we have 5 new heroes for the Luftwaffe, which is kind of crazy. We have the flying gorilla, which we've seen before, but now we know it's a Luftwaffe hero. We know the name of him.
Yeah, I'm so disappointed. I'm pissed off on this. I'm sorry. I was complaining last time that I was too positive, but I mean, it's a friggin' monkey. It is a Bloidkreuz. You can't put it. It's a beautiful miniature. I love it. I will buy it. I will build it. I will paint it. I will take it into my bedroom and make sweet love to it. But I won't accept that this is a Luftwaffe, for fucking hell's sake. This is a conspiracy. Now everyone has to buy a Luftwaffe army. I'm sorry. I can't get... You monkeys.
Damn dirty apes.
Yeah, damn dirty apes. That's what it is.
I'm sure they did it just to make you start your Luftwaffe army.
Yeah. I bet they did. It's all about me. All about me.
Must be.
Yeah. And then we have 4 other heroes. We've all seen this. I think all these pictures have been up on the Facebook before. We have
the Luftwaffe have like 3 heroes from before or something like that. Florentine,
it's
Rolf and Bloody Baron.
Yeah, that's true. Bloody Baron is kind of a retcon because he was from the old, but still. So it's quite a lot of heroes in total. But it does feel like the kind of elite, just hidden run glass cannon army. So it's kind of thematic, I guess. So we don't have any stats for any of these units yet, so we have no idea how they're going to do on the battlefield. We have 2 ground-based heroes, Kurt and Galeazzo, So Italian guy working for the Luftwaffe.
You have to help my memory out here, but didn't Paolo just say also when we were in Poland that Galeazzo was one of his friends from childhood or something
that
like
kind
that?
of rings a bell. Yeah.
Yeah, it was something like that.
Yeah.
He was molded off to, and that's something I just love with this game, that we have all these heroes that are coming from the.
Based on a true story.
Yeah, they're all based on.
Or just from the community. We've
Yeah.
seen a lot of examples on that recently, which is amazing. I love that fact that if you make yourself known, if you contribute to the community in some way, you might get a miniature based off you. And that's fantastic.
Very cool.
Yeah.
We also have two flying heroes. We have Kaori, the Imperial Japan attaché. We've seen this before, the flying ninja with the Uzis. Looks freaking amazing.
Oh yeah.
And we have the name for him, Raketenman, the kind of Rocketeer knockoff with the Gatling laser. Looks badass.
Yeah, it looks really cool. We'll have to wait and see what the stats are and figure out ways to play them and the ways to beat them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because with the Rocket Man and like the Goliath, the gorilla, I mean, you don't, and the Japanese attaché as well. It doesn't matter what stats they have, because you'll be sitting there drooling over your opponent's miniatures and being totally absorbed with that, and he's beating you left and right. I mean, so it's, you have to wear shades or something, or a bag over your head when you play the Luftwaffe. I don't know.
Yeah, we also have a few new support weapons. We have the kind of what looks like an anti-tank support guys with both short and long barrel versions. Don't really know what kind of the difference is going to be stat-wise. Like I said, we don't have stats for any of these units yet. And there's also a laser version. Of course, it's the Axis. Of course, there's a laser version. And from what I've heard, this is going to be quite cheap. So
Yeah, probably.
yeah, the support weapons usually are. So this could be really, really nasty, I think.
And there are only 3 guys, so they're easier to kill.
Yeah.
They're class 1, and also the vehicle in itself look like it's going to fall apart just by being dropped.
Yeah.
So,
And if it has airdrop, it might not have because, well, we don't know.
construction of it, yeah.
But otherwise, support weapons usually have a move of 1-3, so it's not going to move that far. So if you can keep out of its way, it's not really that dangerous. So I don't see that big of a problem. We'll see. It's cool looking anyway. And we also have one new air unit, the Flyer, with the Nachtjäger. We don't really know the official name for this yet, but it's kind of a ground attack plane. So it has kind of a belly-mounted machine guns pointed downwards. And it has a kind of radar array attached to the nose, which I guess is going to mean it's going to have some special rules attached to it. Maybe we get some rules for night fighting in Operation Condor.
Maybe.
Could that be
now
something?
You're telling. that would be so great. As an old night lord from 40k, I mean, I loved creeping up on people in the night and killing them. And that came out right, of course. Sorry.
That's going to be interesting to see what the Nachtjäger does.
Yeah, definitely. And we also have all these, we're talking about the Operation Condor expansion, and the current projection for this is May or June of this year. And that's going to have all the new Luftwaffe platoons. It's going to probably have new scenarios, new special rules. I think we're going to see, we have hints that we're going to see the advanced rules for freeform, or rather maybe add on optional rules. We don't really know exactly how that's going to work. But as usual, with all these previews, for all these projections on when things are going to get released, add 1d6 months.
Yeah.
Basically.
You never know.
Yeah.
I thought they said on Facebook they were working on the final visual parts of the Condor campaign, but I might have missed that one.
Yeah, I think I saw that as well. It's just the design of the book that's left to do. So it shouldn't be that long, hopefully. Right. So now let's talk about SSU. We got quite a lot of stuff coming up here as well. The first thing I think we've seen, at least before on previews, the heavy Tesla walker.
Paolo has mentioned it on the Facebook. It was, I think it's the Russian guy, what is calling now again, who has the Winter Child as his picture.
Yes, I know who you mean. Yeah.
Sorry for not knowing your name at the moment,
So
but
it's Evgeny?
yeah, I think it was like that. And I thought he built that one and put a picture up on it. And Paolo was saying, "Yeah, mine is the same way, or I did mine this way, or something." And he was putting up
basically. It's more or less the Babushka Matroshka chassis. It's a little bit different, but that's basically what it is, but with Tesla guns. So yeah, it's really nice. We also have some new attack helicopters coming up.
But that one we saw in Poland as well.
Yeah, this one with the heavy looks like big Gatling guns.
Yeah. And passenger seats, which is extremely important. That you kind of bring your Spetsnaz in your chopper.
It's gonna be tough, but it's also probably gonna be expensive.
It ought to be.
Yeah, and the next one, even more so. This is a pure attack helicopter, no passenger seats, but it has quadruple Tesla guns.
Yeah, and I know I'm an SSU player by heart, but I have to say, and as when I saw it the first time, why? The Tesla rule at the moment. I'm guessing you can only fire at one target.
Probably.
Yeah. So you get one shot at one tank, and as soon as that's going to emerge, everyone is going to have too much anti-air, because that one is going to take out one walker every turn if you allow it to be in the air. So you just have to deny it flyability if you are on the opposite side. And I mean, 4 Teslas.
It is probably maybe a bit overkill.
Yeah.
And then you get into the kind of rock paper scissors thing that you don't fire at the big tank with this because you want to take out the other guy's anti-aircraft stuff first. So you shoot at that with the Tesla gun, and then they can't fire sustained on you. And yeah.
But then we don't have any stats for this yet, so we don't really know. It's kind of difficult to do that. But I'm thinking, Tesla is the SSU special weapon, and the Axis have a lot of lasers, and we know that the Allied are gonna get quite a lot more phasers. So I think it's fair the SSU get more Teslas.
Yeah, but my problem with Teslas now is that since you have to wound, the only thing it's effective against is the one with a lot of wounds. So the Tesla, you want to stop perhaps the walkers with 8 or plus lives, or if it's in one hero that you just have to keep quiet or something. And to me the Teslas are, if you deny the person to do anything, it's not the kill weapon, it's the I interfere with your game stats. So you don't need the quadruple Teslas, you don't need the double Teslas even, because you don't use Tesla to kill things.
But they roll a lot more dice, and with more dice,
more opportunity to wound.
Yeah, but now he probably has at least 4 on each, and then it's 16 dice, and well, it's just like you're probably just gonna kill the shit anyway. So the Tesla is just useless because you won't stop it, you kill it. It's like when you face the Germans nowadays with the class 3 infantry. Well, if you wound them, you have killed one of them, most likely at least, and then they're down to 2, and then the threat is gone. 2 machine gun infantry, 3 Germans, they are a menace, but not as the real threat is when there are 3. Same with the Fliegerfaust. Remove 1, and it drastically reduces them. So for me, I have a lot of Teslas in my bookshelves, I love them. I will buy this chopper. I will have it in my shelf. I won't play it because it's useless, as all Teslas. I'm sorry. I've probably eaten something bad this day because I'm just ranting down, you know. But it's just, sorry. You get the point what I'm trying to make.
Teslas have gotten nerfed basically in this new version. So we just have to see how this shakes out. And if nothing else, it's interesting to have the option of Teslas on a helicopter because we haven't had that before.
No, that's true.
Going forward, we have also a new faction for the SSU coming up, the Chinese Liberation Army. And we have seen what is going to be the starter kit for this new faction, which is one Tropical Nina. It's what looks like a set of Chinese volunteers, but Soldier 1 version. It looks like the exact same guys, but with different heads. They have those rice hats and no body armor. But otherwise they look like they have more or less the same weapons.
Mm-hmm.
And it was mentioned they would have a new set of skills as well, which the Class 2 don't have. So they will be more flexible or something more explosive or something. I don't know what they said.
Yeah, we'll see. The most interesting thing is that this comes with 2 heroes instead of the 1 hero which we've seen with all the other starter boxes. And it's a brother-sister combo from what we've heard. And they have the exact same weapons. But we don't know if they have the exact same stats, skills, whatever. But might be. Could be like they're twins. Maybe they're kind of work together as a single hero. But there's 2 miniatures. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That they are 2 heroes, but they always operate together. And that you can put them together with the unit as well.
Look like they work best in close combat with those kind of spear weapons they have, and the other is just a small pistol, so not that damaging maybe. But it's going to be very interesting to see the stats and the skills for these guys.
Yeah, I like them. I think the visual are very, very nice, and it could actually make me broaden my SSU to the Chinese as well, because first, when I heard about the Chinese, I was not that much, but perhaps that's also perhaps because I have so much SSU. I didn't see the need to, but these miniatures are nice. That they are.
And like we said before, there's going to be new amphibious walkers and tanks and stuff, and these are also going to be for the new Chinese faction. Mm-hmm. So we have seen it's the PT-47, the command vehicle. We're going to see more variants of that. We've seen one with what looks like basically the Katyusha or Stalin organ, the kind of rocket launchers mounted on it. We've seen that. We've also seen renders of the amphibious tank. And this is also going to be for the Chinese. So, lots of amphibious stuff. So that maybe, that's lots of rivers in China, I guess.
Yeah, and I think this is very exciting because I would love to get the water aspect into the game, because you could build so many nice, interesting things on your battle table, and I think it could lead to a whole new dimension to gameplay. So I'm very, very positive about all the amphibious things that are coming. Yeah. I have a little dream that for the non-gridded, I would one time want to build a game table with only islands in the Pacific, and you will be playing jumping islands and whatnot.
Island hopping.
Yeah, I've only visioned it in my head, so I don't know if this is a big room or if it's just a small table. I don't know, but
yeah. And the projected date for these are the second quarter of 2017, which would be between April and June? Mm-hmm. Which means we're probably going to see them in July or August, maybe. Yeah. We're making fun, but no, there's been a lot of delays because of various reasons. We hope we're going to get past that point, but let's be realistic. Stuff had been delayed, and things are probably going to keep getting delayed. So, at least for me, it's better to kind of prepare for the worst, so you can be positively surprised. if it happens.
To me, the only important thing is that they arrive before the rain season, before the monsoons.
Yeah, because then you're going to need the amphibious.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's go over to the allies.
Please.
New faction for those, or well, not really new because we have a few units. It's the Desert Scorpions. We've been talking a lot about the Desert Scorpions before. Very few. It's only 4 units in the game so far, but we're going to see a lot of them. Projected date for this is August 2017, so we're going to see them towards the end of the year.
My Christmas list.
Yeah, it's a lot of exciting stuff here. It seems like all the stuff are going to come with swappable heads, so you're going to have different nationalities. So far we've seen Australians, we've seen French, and we've seen British, which is interesting. So you can theme your army the way you want to. We have a few heroes. We've seen a few of them. The one that's graced on Gregory Withrow, the guy who takes care of warfare now, and I love the look of this miniature. It's just it's fun
does.
And it's badass, and just the dog. Yeah, it's so cute.
You know, we got a guy here in Sweden that sees himself in this model as well, so he has already put aside money to buy it, and he's actually thinking about buying a real dog, the same one, just so he can pose the same way, which is just wonderful. I don't know if we should mention his name, because it can be a little bit both ways there.
Yeah.
But it's a beautiful model. I love it. It's just, you take care of the important people in the business, the one that does a lot of good things, and he does, Gregory. That's no doubt about that. Even though we don't play Warfare, every time he posts something, you get inspired and you get a good feeling for the game.
Yeah.
And it's great to know that people can play Warfare. So just because I don't do it, other people can, and that's extremely important, I think. So
definitely. And we should also mention that apart from this miniature, all the stuff from this point onwards is not finished. There's only computer renders. There's very, very early imagery, so nothing is finished. Everything is subject to change.
But I would like to mention there that a lot of those things that they had now put to models, we saw only computer rendered images of in Poland.
That's true.
So just because they are now computer rendered, it doesn't mean that they won't be ready until summer or something.
No, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
What about those the swappable heads there? Do we know anything more about that? Are they going to release them as like separate packs or something? Or
I don't think we've heard any specifics. I'm guessing it's going to be the way like the Infantry 3 phaser guys are now. That you get them in the package.
Yeah, Paulo said something about it when we were in Poland, but there were some sneaky Polish guys who had offered us, I don't know, vodka and some beer and stuff beforehand, so memory is a little bit foggy there.
Yeah, I think it would be great if they could just, release a product with only the heads, because I think a lot of people would like to swap heads for...
Absolutely. So that's a free tip for you guys at the Dust Studios.
Yeah.
Head packs. Talking about heroes, we also have a new, Scottish hero coming up. We've seen 2 different versions of this guy. At least I think it's the same dude, because it's the same pose, it's the same face, but 2 different weapons. People say he's based on Mad Jack Churchill, which was an actual historical figure that actually used a sword and longbow during World War II. I don't really see the resemblance, actually. It's a different sword, it's a different kind of look. But, the concept, I guess, could be inspired by the actual person. But we have 2 versions of this guy. One with a Tommy gun, like you've all seen those 1920s gangster movies with the round magazines and stuff. And, of course, one version with a bloody great sword.
Yeah. Of course, someone will find a fault in either of these 2, but I'm at a loss trying to figure out anything that is wrong with these. This is just...
And I also heard one person, I'm sorry I don't remember who you were, but who said that he had heard that this specific model with this sword would have some kind of extra bonus for specific units, maybe stuff that's going to be coming on later on. So we may be talking something that's not human, perhaps.
It's a holy sword then. You mean,
Maybe.
killing
We'll
it.
see. We'll see.
Ah,
This
right.
is just pure rumor and scuttlebutt here.
Yeah.
So we'll see. But it's an interesting thought, nevertheless. We have the trucks coming up, attack trucks with fast movement, lots of machine guns, and the new what they're talking about raid rules. So we have picture of 3 different versions here. One with like a big heavy machine gun, one with a mortar on the on the truck,
Yeah,
and
why not?
yeah, and one with an anti-tank and a phaser.
Yeah.
Just why not?
Yes.
And apparently
Just
the
because
new
you can.
yeah.
Just because you can.
And the raid rule, which says that these new trucks will use, is apparently move, fire, move.
In some way or another.
Yeah,
And that's great. And
that's
they're all great.
yeah.
But I have to also just put it out there that I would have loved to see a simulation on the poor driver when they fire that phaser gun. I just want...
He just drags like a bomb suit like, over his head.
That's what you would call a bad hair day.
Yes, it can't be much left there.
Yeah.
But I love them. I love them so much.
I think they look fantastic, and it's going to be really interesting to see how these raid rules pans out.
And how they work in the game, because it's I like that kind of thing, because that's something I've missed before, that you can just jump out of cover, fire, and then immediately jump back, for instance.
I think it's a cool idea, but I just hope they don't make it too powerful, because that can be really annoying.
It could.
I remember from other games a few years back, it was just really annoying to play against that kind of army.
Yeah.
If basically the whole army has such a rule, so I'm just hoping they make it good and balanced and fun.
Definitely.
Hopefully they will trigger more advanced reactive fire vehicles, because we don't see them too much, because you're never that threatened by people jumping at you.
And just reactive fire in general is very finicky. It's just hard to. You can't rely on it. That's basically the gist of it. Unless maybe if you have advanced reactive fire, then it's more reliable. That said, you can, if you're lucky. I'm going to just going off on a tangent here. I had the most amazing reactive fire in my life on the tournament we had last time, against none other than Winterchild. He was going to one of my, not even my Loki. I was playing the Endak, and I had a Loki, but I think that was already shot out at that moment. So it was just a normal Tropical Heinrich. Not very intimidating. So Winterchild goes to the flank. So yeah, I haven't activated. If I don't use reactive fire, it's definitely destroyed. So I have to. And I roll both symbols. So I can turn, I can fire, and I get the most amazing roll ever, and I actually kill Winterchild. I mean, that's the kind of thing that shouldn't happen. But I'm going to live long on that reactive fire alone. And I don't think the guy I was playing against is bitter, because he still won that match. So, but it was fun. It was great. Okay, going back to the Desert Scorpions here, we also have a render of Foot Soldier with the phasers. So it's like lots of phasers in this army, look like.
I just want to inflict also that these vehicles, please let them be capturable. Let us be able to capture those. In some sort of way, because I also remember
at least the non-phaser version.
Yes. I remember the Spetsnaz, beautiful Spetsnaz comic by our Australian friend there, or at least I would like to call him friend. I don't know the guy, but he made that beautiful comic when the Spetsnaz were raiding in an Allied airfield, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
they were just using those type of trucks because he's building them by.
I mean, trucks were used by everyone in the war, anyways. So why not?
Yeah, absolutely. We also have a few heavier armored cars. We have what looks like the Staghound, basically British armored trucks, but with a Mickey turret. And we also heard on Facebook that you can basically use any of the M3 turrets. There's going to be rules and cards for most of them.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, that's the one I was blabbing about last time. I don't know how much of that made it to the air, but I mean the stag hound. Oh yeah, great. I don't know why, but it's something with the shapes, the form. This is right up my alley.
This looks lovely, and just with that turret, it's unmistakably Dust.
Yeah.
So just think that thing, but like with the what I'm thinking it with the hot dog turret.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quick moving
yes,
and
please.
fire.
Oh
just,
yes.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. We also have something for the USMC, a new attack aircraft, which is called the Black Mamba, and this is completely new render. Also belly mounted. No, it's wing mounted quadruple phaser guns, and we have a top mounted what looks like. What looks like a top-mounted turret with machine guns. So also like a very, very heavily armed aircraft.
Well, perhaps this is to counter then perhaps the big walkers that we're coming to talk about later, or something else that you need these massive amount of dice when you attack the new upcoming armies that we're also going to talk about in a short while. So perhaps that's why this bird and the 4 Tesla chopper and stuff, perhaps it is needed later. But I have to
vehicle
say
armor 8.
Yeah, but perhaps.
No, probably not.
It's beautiful. I love it visually and all that stuff, and that you can make it so it lands on an aircraft carrier and stuff like that. It's great, but 4 phasers, it's the same with the 4 Teslas. You don't need this, not today at least. But perhaps it's something in my head that's not. I'm overseeing something that they know will arrive later on, and then you're gonna need it.
That could very well be it. Yeah.
Just to retract a little bit on my rant there on the Teslas earlier.
Still, we have to see the stats for it and for a lot of other things.
Of course.
Cost.
Skip. So we also have 2 new blocks coming up, and let's talk about the ones that we already knew about first. That's the Imperial Japanese Navy. Summer 2018 is the projected date, which I know people are disappointed by.
Yeah.
Because it's still a long, long way off.
Yeah.
But the way I see it, the Japanese have been 2 years away for about 2 years now. And now they're 1.5 years away. That's better. That's an improvement.
Yeah. And hats off to Paolo for stating on Facebook that it was this is just fact of the Kickstarter that was put forth, and they had to do stuff to combat the things that happened during the Kickstarter. And of course, well, if it's the way it is, it's the way it is. But of course, I was dreaming about the Japanese, and
so have many people.
Yeah.
So it's unfortunate that we still have to wait quite a long while, but there is. Let's talk about the stuff they've shown, because there's some interesting stuff. It's very, very little that's actually finished at this point. We have to say that. We know there are going to be some paratroopers, so airdrop rules, basically. I mean, fluff in the story. The Japanese are a part of the Axis, but from what we've heard, the Navy is going to break apart and become their own block. So these are going to become their own separate block, which is interesting. But they're still probably going to retain a few of the Axis flavor. They're going to have lasers.
Right.
We definitely know that. And we see here they have paratroopers. They're probably going to have airdrop, which is also at the moment is most related to the Luftwaffe.
Some similarities with the Axis as we know them.
Yes. That said, they are definitely going to be different from the Axis. Very different indeed. If we're going to, we have some traditional weapon renders. We see the normal kind of things you can expect: machine guns, submachine guns, swords, of course, for the Japanese.
Yeah.
Then we get to the Imperial Navy robotics troops. And these are what I at least think are kind of Japanese version of the Steel Guard, basically. I think these are probably going to be Soldier 4, like three model units.
It's hard to make out if it's a KV-47 look-alike or it's
Yeah, size-wise.
Yeah. So-
it's very hard to tell from these pictures, but I'm guessing that these are unit like the normal foot soldier size.
It works either way for me. I mean,
And it's well, you can argue that it takes some of the flavor away from the Steel Guard because they are the only units in the game at the moment with Soldier 4. But we have to kind of spread out. We have to make more stuff. I mean, people have been wanting more blocks, and you can't keep everything exclusive
the game
forever.
is getting a lot bigger now, and
Yeah.
you can't have too many things that are unique. It's just not possible, basically. So
no, but
yeah, I think that would be cool to have them some really heavy armored samurai troops. Yeah.
Exactly. So just pure speculation, since these are robotic. I'm guessing they are Soldier 4. I'm guessing they're not damage resilient, but they might be, since they're robots, immune to suppression.
Hmm.
So that's kind of how you differentiate them. That's my pure guess.
So you're thinking they're robots altogether?
I'm thinking complete robots.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting twist then. I just thought there were some cyborg-like thing that it was a human inside, and there were.
They might be. We'll see.
And also, I think I'm still going to be the opposite to you all the time. So I think they're going to be Type 3 because the Japanese armor wasn't that good as the Russians.
Well,
So-
now we're talking historical, not game world, which is very different, especially when we go forward into what we're going to see. We have some renders for a coming walker, and we have an amphibious walker. And this is quite interesting because we have one. I was kind of fooled by this picture first. That was two different sizes. It's not. It's the same walker, but with and without the hull for the boat. So it's detachable. So I'm guessing they come with the kind of boat hull in from the shore, and then they just jettison that so they can have greater mobility when they're on the ground. So yeah, this look kind of cool. Kind of a mix between the Allied and the Axis style, maybe.
First off, I don't think they're cool. I think they're quite corny. But at the same time, I'd like to add that I think they're super cool and super nice because I love them. Perhaps just because I find them corny, because I like that it's not everything doesn't have to be the super cool thing. I mean, that's why also I like the KV-47s a lot, because I don't think they are cool in any aspect. I mean, they are. They're looking like stuffed chickens or something. I mean, they're anti-cool.
Yeah, but it's the Dust style.
Yes,
That's so
they
great.
have something with them. So great design, I would say,
Yeah.
even though I find them totally corny. If you get my
Yeah, exactly.
And here we can see the armaments. The rocket pods look like on the other on one version, and laser on the other. So that's kind of what we can expect from that. And we also have a very early preview. It's kind of hard to make out from this picture. We also have a heavy walker. This looks something like a cross between like the Axis Sturmkönig chassis and the Allied Beetles, like the Devastator and Punisher. But kind of more chunky. They're higher. They're kind of compact. They're much more fat, basically. And here I can definitely agree. This is not cool in that way, I think, but it's definitely, well, industrial. It's dusty, definitely.
It's like a big Navy bunker. It's like
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a bunker on legs.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's perfect. No, but it's very, in my aspect though, it's super cool. But yeah, well,
It's going to be very interesting to see how these things work on the in the game. And then we have the big things. The super heavy walker. And these are basically, giant Japanese robots. And everyone, I know various people on the Facebook forums and such have compared these to Gundam. I don't really see the similarity myself, because these are very much more industrial looking. This looks like a heavily armored version of like the power loader from Aliens or something like that. And from we've heard, it's hard to see from this because it's just a computer render, it's nothing related to it. But these are expected to be big.
Yes.
And I mean really, really big.
40 centimeters high or something like that, I've heard. Or
Yeah.
something like that. And I get a great vibe of Battletech when I look at this.
Yeah.
That's the only fear I'm getting when I watch this picture, because everything that's been Battlemech or Battletech has always had legal issues, and there's always, for some reason, someone somewhere claiming that, oh, this is mine, stop it, don't give the fans what they want. And just trying, it seems like if it's close to a Battletech mech, someone has to sabotage it with a legal action. But I'm hoping, and I'm guessing, that they have this totally secure. And of course, those will be great. I mean, once again, that Navy scenario, one of these,
Just
with all the
walking up
amphibious-
from the sea, like. And I can bet what again, like pure guessing speculation. Point cost for one of these, 60.
Why not? Why not? Does it need weapons? No. It just tramples everything. It can have the trample rule or something like that. It can easily just squash a bunker.
we really don't know anything
No.
about these. They can be completely new rules for them.
Yeah.
We don't know if they will fit into the stat line. Will they be like vehicle 7s, or will they have some kind of completely different rule? We have
Yeah.
no idea about
We
that.
don't know. But it's going to be interesting.
Mm.
We also have what looks like a very, very early render for some jet fighters. So basically like interceptors. I don't think we can kind of discern much from these very early pictures to kind of talk about them, unfortunately. They're planes. They're small. And yeah, so it kind of the opposite of the big, huge robot, I guess. It's maybe just for support for it.
Kamikaze.
Yeah, it could very well be a kamikaze unit. We don't know, but it's interesting. And then we have the second new block that's coming up that just for most of us came out of nowhere. So let's just address the big elephant in the room, as we've avoided talking about, the big slimy tentacled elephant. And this was quite a surprise for most of us. The second new block that's going to be Christmas of 2017 is the projected date. It's the Cthulhu cultists.
Right.
I can't remember any topic from when I've started this game that has just had this much discussion on the
Probably
various
not.
web pages and forums, and just people have gone nuts about this. And I must say, just with this amount of discussion that's been, I'm very happy to say that there's been very little arguing going on. People have had very different opinions, but people haven't been vitriolic. People haven't really been angry with each other, and that's very positive.
Yeah,
There's
that's
been a
great.
lot of good discussion,
Yeah, that's great.
but like there's been just a ton of different opinions. One thing we have to make sure we know almost nothing about this. We know that it's a new block. We know that we have big Cthulhu spawn. These are also supposed to be really big. It's basically small versions of Cthulhu himself, but small versions of Cthulhu are still really, really big. I think we have one pic here. It's larger than a normal walker, but still not as big as the Japanese robots, but still pretty sizable. The few details we've heard from other places is that in the fluff they are led by Rasputin, and there's also been a kind of hint that as an army, they get stronger the more units they kill, which is interesting. So maybe it's that they start without these big guys on the playing field, and they have to kill a certain number of enemies in order to summon them or something. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. And the other thing is also that there's been a lot of discussion, and I think on the negative side, people who don't like this kind of new direction for the game, I think the most common thing I've seen is that they are afraid that this is going to take over kind of the fluff.
Yeah,
that Dust is going to become
a Cthulhu game.
Yeah, it's going to be a Cthulhu game with a World War II theme.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that's what they're going for, and we've seen Gregoire, the American kind of product manager, I think his title is, and he said this is supposed to be kind of a small block for fun. It's not supposed to be like a big, huge part of the game. It's a little small kind of taste that you can play around with if you want. It's not supposed to take over and be kind of one of the mainstays.
Yeah, I mean, when I saw this just the other day here, I wasn't really thrilled about it. I don't think that Cthulhu. I don't know. I don't think it really fits in that well in my view of Dust. But sure, I understand why some people like it, of course, and I do like a lot of other games that have Cthulhu theme. It's just not my view of Dust so far. But then I started thinking, what about if they are also? It's also possible to mix them. For example, let's say you are playing your allied army, and they somehow got influenced, and you can make like similar to how you can play mercenaries now. You have allied army with a few mercenaries. Maybe you could play your allied army with a few cultists, for example.
So it's kind of corrupted allies.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm. That's a very interesting thought.
So I have no idea if it's going to be anything like that, but that's a kind of cool idea. I think you can do lots of interesting stuff with that. Also, like if you're a painter and modeler, you can do some really cool themes. Do cool conversions with your troops and vehicles, make them more Cthulhu.
Yeah, definitely. We also seen a preview of a piece of scenery, kind of a pillar with a Cthulhu theme. So it's like looks like a half carved, half kind of organic idol based pillar thing. So they are definitely going to support it. We don't know how much, if it's going to be big. I mean, it might be that it's going to be size-wise the same as the mercenaries, because we don't really see much of the mercenaries. It is possible to build a complete mercenary army. I don't think it would be very good, but it is possible. And it could be kind of the point that the Cthulhu army is going to work the same way, basically. It's a fun thing if you want to use it, but it's not meant to be a serious kind of balanced contender with the other blocks. Mm-hmm. We just don't know. But like I said, there's been a ton of discussion. I put up a poll on the official Facebook page, kind of just to gauge interest in it. I checked before we recorded this, and at that point we had 178 answers on this poll, which is pretty good. So I'm not saying this is like a scientifically accurate in any way, but it kind of gives an indication of how people who are interested or engaged in the game enough to engage in the Facebook forums and discuss things there, how they see this. And well, there's been a ton of different opinions that come forward, but it looks like most is positive. The most common answer that people have chosen is that they absolutely love it. They can't wait to get a hold of it. They can't wait to try it. This is about 30-35% of the people played it. And if you go overall, there are several different options that people have tried. That range from very positive to at least slightly positive. That's over half. That's 55-56%. But there's still a sizable portion that's come with negative opinions as well. That's about 27%. And a few of those, they just absolutely hate it. And that's interesting. We can't really just ignore that, because their opinion is definitely important and valid, I think. I've seen at least one post from a person who said that that's it, I'm not accepting this, I'm quitting the game. And that's unfortunate. That's very unfortunate. Because I think the point of this new Cthulhu cultist faction is not to give something new to the people who are already playing the game. I think it's to get interest from people who are not playing the game at the moment.
Yeah, probably. It's I mean, Cthulhu is very well known, and a lot of people play other Cthulhu games, so maybe they just stop by the store shelf and, hey, what's this? Looks at Dust a little bit closer. So that's probably good for the game as a whole. Yeah. Even if I personally don't see it as, fitting into my view of Dust.
No, but we've touched on this beforehand when we talked about the werewolves. Will they be coming in or stuff like that? And well, I understand completely people who are playing Dust, who are like the World War II fans, but we're okay with a little twist. It's always nice with a phaser or a laser, of course. And okay, yeah, well, they got zombies. I don't have to play the zombies. I am a Wehrmacht player and stuff like that. For those people, I understand if they are horrified by this and they say, oh, I have this slightly weird army game that I'm playing because I love World War II. I'm fascinated by it, but now it takes it to that other level and goes full pulp, if you want to say it. On the same, and I think we can have a split in the community. I think there will be groups where you don't play the weird stuff, more or less. So you play the scientific stuff a little bit more.
I've heard a lot of players saying, "Oh, I don't like the zombies. I don't want them." But then we have those that say the exact opposite. "Oh, I love zombies. I want to play all zombie armies." So in that way, this isn't really different. I mean, there will be people saying, "Oh, I love Cthulhu. I want to play Cthulhu army." So
yeah, exactly.
It's I think it's more or less the same.
I suspected that it would be a shift in the community when we came to 1968. Because then it was talk about the aliens were coming, the aliens were fighting each other on Earth and stuff like that. And then I could see people wanting to, no, I'm going to play the World War II game, the 1947 Dust, and I'm not going to touch the 68 game. Or perhaps also I've invested my entire savings on the 1947 type of game. I'm playing it, I'm not going for it. But of course the most important thing, and it's been posted by a lot of people on the Facebook and other places, is that if I don't like the Cthulhu thing, I won't play it. And I've played a few Cthulhu games. I've never understood what's so fun with the Cthulhu thing. It's nothing that I mind. As Magnus, you were pointing out, for modelers, this is just freaking great. The pillar, it could be from Alien or Aliens, so they can sell it to the players who play that, because this could be that first guy who they find in the plane there. And I mean, there's no reason why you should not play it. I mean, there was this big discussion also for some strange, absurd reason. Then when I think it was when the Mercs were starting to coming. Also, that could it be female heroes, and there were people who were saying there can be a female army or something that was wrong, and so come on, play the stuff you like, use the models you like. If it's not for you, well, fuck it, use the other thing. I mean, we're not be coy about it. It's the same thing. Some play zombies, some don't.
No one's forcing you to buy and play the Cthulhu stuff. No. And just having more options, I have just a hard time seeing that as a negative.
Yeah, and I have a friend who, for some reason, won't get into Dust, but he has a huge love for orcs, and he actually, just to perhaps please me, he made a dust army out of orcs. So one time we played gridded dust with the orcs versus SSU. And if I can play that, why can't I shoot Cthulhu?
Why not?
Yeah, so I can shoot anything. I can kill everyone, at least in my own mind. I'm invincible.
Talking about just aliens and Vril, which we know is the first of the two kind of dust-specific alien species that we know are coming.
But I'm stopping you there, unfortunately. I'm sorry. Isn't it, because I'm not a Lovecraft fan, and I don't know that, isn't, though, what I've read, that the Cthulhu is perceived as aliens in the Lovecraft.
Yeah,
so Cthulhu is alien.
Yeah,
They're coming before Vril, they are the first alien. Or...
Yeah, you can. That could be a good point, because we do know, we've known for quite a while that it's going to be two different alien species that's going to arrive on Earth and going to start trouble. We know that Vril has been one of them. Could it be that the Cthulhu spawn is the second?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very possible.
Yeah, that's a very interesting point. We didn't see anything about the Vril in this presentation, but we have heard that the projection is that they're going to start arriving at the same time as the Japanese. So summer 2018 at the moment, that's where it is.
Yeah, but wasn't it also there in the fluff there something was happening? They were finding something out in the Pacific. I thought I read something about that on a post. And that's why all this happened, that the Japanese army and someone else were encountering a third party in the Pacific, and all hell break loose, and that's why Vril is arriving, or Vril is one of the, or I don't know, or if it's Vril and Japanese army that triggers the Cthulhu, or it was something. Historians has to.
Right. Yeah, I don't know too much about that actually.
Yeah. History is written by the winners, so we'll see after the fact, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so that was quite a lot to talk about. If you haven't seen all these pictures yet, then take a look at our website, dustwarjournals.wordpress.com, and we have all the pictures there for you to peruse. So, let's go and talk about something closer to the near future. And that's Dust Nordic. The tournament that we, the Dust Vikings here in Sweden, are going to be arranging now pretty soon.
Yes, Easter weekend, mid-April.
Yeah.
And we are having special guest, Olivier is coming to visit us and maybe play in the tournament as well. So it's going to be nice to meet him again, and going to be nice to possibly play against him as well. And a lot of other players, of course.
Yes, of course. We have quite recently just updated all the info on the page for it. That's at dust-vikings.tk. If you click through to the Dust Nordic page there, you can find all the information, the schedule, and our official Dust Vikings tournament guide or tournament document.
Yes, called Dust Storm 2017.
So that should be most, I guess, at least, of the information that you'll need in order to prepare for the tournament.
Yes, it's basically tournament rules, like how does the tournament work, and what kind of restrictions do you need to follow when you're building your army list, and
how the scenarios are going to be selected and how they work. And
yes,
that's a point that we should probably
emphasize.
Yeah, because in most of the tournaments that we've played outside of Sweden, we've had very specific scenarios with very specific terrain. We don't play like that. And that could be something new for players coming in from abroad, I think, maybe.
Yes.
The way we do it is that we have prepared several different tables. Each table has unique set of terrain, and then we roll one of 6 of the tournament, of the scenarios that we have in the tournament document.
Yes.
So nobody knows, and that's the beauty of it. You don't know how your terrain is going to look like. You don't know what scenario you're going to play. You know that it will be one of a number of terrain pieces and one of a number of scenarios.
Yes.
But no one can fully prepare for what's...
So
not
each
even us.
table. Each table is completely unique, but all players will play the same scenario each round. So that's a bit different to, I guess, how a few other people do it.
And we have another twist as well. We play with 2 armies, not at the same time, but we have the 2 armies option.
Yeah,
Yes.
if you want to use 2 armies, then you can. The thing you have to think about then is that you can't use the same hero in both army lists. That's the big restriction, I think. that you have to be
I mean,
aware of.
each hero is unique, so of course you can't have 2 of the same in one army.
No.
And we also put in the restriction that you can't use the same hero in both armies if you decide to bring 2 lists with you. Like, for example, if you bring, I don't know, Marcus or something in one list, you can't also bring Marcus in the second list. The only exception is the very few heroes that have different versions, like Sigrid or Angela and possibly somebody else.
Bazooka Joe?
No, it's...
I think it's the same card for him, isn't it? Yeah, but I mean, those
Yeah.
heroes
Yeah.
that have 2 or even more cards, possibly. Those you can bring, like, one version in list 1 and the other version of that hero in list 2, because we count them as different hero, because usually they do quite different things. So
And the big thing here is that you can do this. You don't have to. You do what you feel interesting and what's good for you. So if you just want to bring 1 army, you bring 1 army. If you bring 2, you have to play each army once. So if it's 4 games, you play at least 1 army once and the other army 3 times, or a mix of this. And for someone who has struggled with this, I love this system, but I always choose the wrong army against the wrong opponent. So please, so you don't have a mental breakdown, try this out before you come and play the tournament. And if you find it, as I find it, that you always choose the wrong one, bring just 1 army. You don't beat yourself up in the evening when you've chosen, why did I take that army against Johannes again?
A lot of our players actually do that. They only bring 1 list just so they don't have to think about it.
yes, I mean, it's an option.
Yeah.
It's nice to have some people, and then the others don't like it that much, and then just bring 1. That's fine.
And it's also a reason why we should buy more miniatures.
Yeah.
That's why we perhaps should have in the future 4 or 5 armies with us, because then we can buy more miniatures. No, sorry.
Yeah, but I mean, it's also it's a way to, like, create variety in the tournament, both for the player himself or herself, or also for the other players in the group, to have a lot of variety. That's kind of the reason to do this.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of all the way our tournaments are organized, just to have the most amount of variety possible. Variety in armies, variety in scenarios, variety in terrain. Just to make it as hard to predict and just to make that as fun as it possibly can be.
And the thing with 2 armies is that it's a little bit more fair for all players, because, as we said, you don't know on which table and which terrain you will play. So if you want to play 1 army, you might have built an army that just isn't playable on the table that we provided, and it should of course suck if you come to a tournament and I can't even play my army because they put that terrain piece over there. Then you have the second army you bring up. And also, since we don't have the same tables on every table, you don't have those opt lists in our tournaments that much. You don't know that you're going to face a certain type of Endak army every time you face a German player. You know, if you face a German player, it can be whatever army, and then you can't just tailor your army. I mean, because that otherwise you in some tournaments you can see like 1 SSU army, 1 German army, Axis army, and 1 Allied army, even if you have 10 players or 15 or 20 players. Here you know it's going to be a different army you're facing every time. So you need a little bit more options just to have the chance to get the most out of the tournament.
Yeah, I just want to say that you will be able to play your army no matter what table you're on.
Yeah, of course,
you will be able to put your models on the table, of
Yeah,
course.
that's
but,
well, if it's effective or not. I think that's what
Yeah,
you
yeah,
mean.
sorry,
exactly.
I'm Swedish, and I'm not fluent in English, so I mean.
Also, another point that kind of important, that if you do bring 2 army lists, they both have to be from the same block. So you can't bring one allied and one Axis army. No, that's a no-go.
That's true.
But it is okay to have an Endak and a Bleutkreuz with you.
Yeah,
Yes.
there can be different factions inside the same block. That is
Yes.
absolutely true.
So that's one more thing with that twist, can I have 75 points? Is it the right block? Yes, am I mixing? Have I 2 army lists? Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of things to think about.
Yeah, a lot of options. One thing that could also be good to know is that most tables that we build have multiple levels. We do
Yes.
have buildings with multiple stories, so height advantage comes into play. That can be very good to know.
We saw something so beautiful in our last tournament. I have to mention this, and perhaps I know some people don't like this, perhaps, and some would like. I get a rule question from a table. They want my help for sorting something out, and I go over there and I just freeze. It's 3 big 2-story buildings in this scenario with trees and stuff. And what do I see? Crammed on top of every building is RSOs. I mean, they have airdropped those. What do you call them? Not tanks. They call them. What do you call them? Battle wagons or whatever.
Yeah.
So our Luftwaffe guy.
But, that was kind of cool, but it also presented a lot of
Problems.
problems. Yeah, so we had quite a lot of discussions after that actually, and I think this solution. I mean, we will write something about this and put out on the website, so people will know how this will work.
Yeah, and that's also a good point that since all of our tables are going to be different from each other and going to have different terrain pieces, we are going to have at the tournament site, we're going to have written documentation for each table that describes how the terrain works. Just not that it's going to be very complicated, that's not the point, but just so that there aren't a lot of questions. How does this particular tree differ from this particular tree? Because it looks kind of different.
Because the 3D gaming, it gets a bit more complicated. It's not that hard, but there are a few things to think about. And I wanted to say about this with RSOs landing on the rooftop. I think the solution will be that vehicles simply will not be able to land on rooftops.
It was such
Actually.
a beautiful
Yeah,
picture.
I know. It was kind of cool, but
Okay, well.
it was a bit weird as well. So
Yeah, it was. One final point about the Dust Nordic. We're going to have another kind of guests arriving there. We're going to have the guys from Thor Miniatures in Poland.
yes.
They're going to be there selling their stuff. And if you haven't seen their products, they are making, basically the MDF, or I think the HDF, it's high density fiberboard buildings that are specific for dust. They are made to fit in grid for
And
for
also
the dust.
resin stuff.
Yeah, and resin stuff. So it's a lot of it's absolutely beautiful stuff. You need to go and take a look at that. They're going to be there selling their stuff, and if you're interested in coming to the tournament, then you can go and get in contact with the guys at Thor and make a pre-order, so they know what stuff to bring if you want to buy stuff.
Yeah, actually, I emailed with them a bit today, and they will put up. I'm not sure if they already did it, but they will put up possibility to choose pick up at GothCon.
Yeah.
Which means they will bring it to our tournament at the GothCon event, and you can get it there, so you don't have to pay any transportation costs.
Yeah, and I can just highly recommend it. I mean, I have got some of the houses, I have some of the train cards, I have the resin fences, and I mean, it's such treat to work with this and to have it, and they look amazing on the tabletop. And you know, if you don't want to, or if you want to buy them, but you don't want to buy from their web page for any reason. You can always buy them from Marek, of course, from War Factory. So he puts them up there as well. So if you don't want to, or if you're buying from Marek and you just haven't realized that you got that other box there you can click.
Yeah, you should check them out. They are awesome.
Yeah, and just having a company that do terrain for Dust, it's beautiful. I hope they get orders from all around the world, because they seemed like great people. We met them in Belgium, and they were friendly as only a Polish guy could be. Or is that bringing it to?
Yeah, and I mean, we spoke a little bit about terrain last episode.
Yeah.
And so this is for you, Johannes. Basically, you should really try to work with MDF or HDF. That's really awesome. Actually, it's
I am planning to do it. I have actually bought a few of the houses from the Thor guys.
Oh, right.
So I'm just waiting for the opportunity to buy them. I have gotten started, just to get a quick update on the kind of terrain stuff. For some people who follow me on or follow the show on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, you've probably seen that I've entered a few markers, the objective markers, into the Facebook contest. That was just kind of pure inspiration. It took 2 days. When I just got my thumb out of my butt and just started doing it. Yeah, and that's basically how you do it. I think what I learned from that is that deadlines can do wonders for your creativity.
Yes. Actually, just to give a little spoiler that I haven't mentioned to anyone yet, I've kind of resumed the works on my next building, which is going to be a fairly big building with loads of details.
Ooh,
loads of details.
That's exciting.
So,
if you guys haven't seen any of Magnus's buildings, then you should definitely go and check them out. I think you have some on the Dust Monthly forum.
Yeah, I've put out some pictures. I actually put out some pictures from the big battle we had this Sunday.
Oh yeah, so people should definitely go and check that out. That's at SACDust, SACDust.com, and go to the forum there, and you can see that. And we can talk a little bit about that, because I know that I think some people stopped using that forum because it did have a few problems a while back with kind of spam and stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same that happens to almost every forum, basically, because there are these spam bots just, infecting or whatever. They are just horrible. But the nice man Joe that put up the forum, the guy who does Dust Monthly, he made me admin for the forum, so I've been working before with some websites, so I managed to put out some tools and get rid of the spam bots and kind of clear it up a bit, so I hope it's working better now.
Yeah, so for you people who haven't used the forum before, or that got out because of you were annoyed with the spam, it's a lot better now, so go and check it out. It's definitely worth it. So I just have a question, because now you have this building project. Do you, Ludwig, do you have any big projects on the work table at the moment?
Well, I have a lot of images in my head, which I'm hoping that a few of them can be materialized to Dust Nordic.
And you just showed us before the show here that you just got a big bag full of raw materials.
Oh yes, I'm privileged in one aspect that we have foam board. At least that's what I call them at work. We do
foam core, I think.
Yeah, foam core perhaps is called more correctly. We do focus groups and we test stuff, and we have imagery on those kind of boards, and I managed to grab a big box of those today. So now I'm just drooling over them. Yes, I'm actually thinking about creating an entirely unique table for tactics, and I mean for gridded play, because I wanted to have elevation in the board in itself.
Ooh, that's exciting.
I'm starting to think that I might be overreaching, but I haven't given up yet. So, and with those new tools, I have the material. I can
Very
do this.
interesting.
Yeah, for those of you guys out there maybe thinking about starting building terrain, foam core, that's the shit.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I mean it's fantastic material to work with, and you can get it in lots of different sizes and thickness, and it's not that expensive actually if you go to the craft store and buy it, or if you work
get
in a
lucky.
place that they use it. Foam core is used in many places, like for presentations and I don't know, advertising probably and stuff like that. So it's really good material to work with.
Yeah. And as for me, like I said, I have the Thor Miniatures buildings that I'm slowly working on, just waiting for the moment to kind of get started, really. But I also have kind of a secret project going.
Ooh,
yeah, that's not terrain related, but I'm not gonna spoil anything more about that. I'm going to let that be a surprise when it's done.
Right.
So it's exciting. And with that, quite a lot to talk about. And I thank all of you for sticking with us for this whole trip. And with that, I think it's time for us to sign off.
Yeah.
So thank you from me, Johannes.
And thank you for Laura.
Yeah, thanks for listening. See you next time.
And we'll see you on the battlefield. All music used in this podcast is by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. If you want to get in contact with me and this podcast, you can email dustwarjournals@gmail.com, or you can follow me on Twitter or Instagram at dustwarjournals.